All right. So what did we discuss yesterday? We'll briefly go through before we start our third day's session. So, am I audible? Please raise your hand. Can you hear me? Can all of you hear me? All right. I hope you can see me as well now. All right. So, yesterday we again revised how we as human beings are superior to animals. We discussed there are 4 common biological instincts between human beings and animals. And these are ahar, nidra, bhay, maithunam cha, which is eating, sleeping, mating or procreation, and defending, which is protection against uncertainties or different kinds of fears. And then we discussed this verse from Mahabharata, which stated that how human beings are different. Dharmen hina pashubhir samana. If as a human being we do not follow dharma or our duty, or we do not comply with the cosmic laws or the laws of the God, we are as good as animals. For example, I took one example yesterday of a red light, a traffic light. If there's a red light, the red light is meant for human beings, not for animals. But if a human being does not follow the red light and crosses it like an animal crosses, then he is as worst as an animal if he doesn't obey those laws. Similarly, there are different laws of nature. If one does not follow them, one does not follow the instructions given by in scriptures, then he is treated as worst as an animal. We also discussed briefly how if we do not follow dharma as a society, as a community, dharma rakshati rakshita. If we do not protect dharma, dharma do not protect us. And we saw how we have witnessed fall down from Satyuga to Treta, Treta to Dwapar, and Dwapar to Kalyuga. A man who had an age of 1 lakh years in Satyuga is struggling with 60, 70 years now. What a tremendous fall down. It's a reflection of fall down in the well-being, in the health, both physically and mentally. Height in Satyuga used to be more than 30 feet, and now we are hardly around 5 feet, 5.5 feet. Why? Because we failed miserably to protect dharma over the 4 yugas, and we see this decline in terms of physical and mental status. We discussed yesterday, Kali Yuga means an age of gross materialism, wherein people are not really worried about laws of nature, laws of God. They're more worried about their body, their looks, sexual desires, sense gratification. So that is the characteristics of this yuga. And hence people do not follow dharma. Forget about following. They're not even aware of what the dharma is, what the duty is as a human being. And then we see different kinds of disasters hitting us in different forms. And then we discuss what are the 7 real sufferings. Janam Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukha Dosha Anudarshanam, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Janm, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. And we discuss how these are the real sufferings of human beings. This is an abnormal condition for one to get old or to get disease or to die. And according to our scriptures, we need to find out what the root causes are and find solution to them. And other than these 4, there are 3 more sufferings we discussed. Sufferings given by one's body and mind, sufferings given by other living entities, and sufferings given by nature in terms of, famine or flood or, corona recently, in different ways, different forms. Nature reacts if we grossly misconduct, we grossly violate the laws of nature, and this is how nature reacts. So these 7 types of sufferings are the real sufferings because they are common to everyone, whether it is, Indian or American or Russian. Everybody has, or suffering these kind of calamities or sufferings. And we also discussed that any amount of material progress cannot eliminate these sufferings. Material progress is largely oriented around sense gratification. How do we eat better? How do we sleep better? How do we defend better? How do we, enjoy better? The entire advancement is centered around only one point: how do we enjoy better? And we discuss example of 5 animals, how one sense becomes a reason for their end, for their death. And we are being troubled by 5 senses at the same time. And we discuss example of America, which is supposed to be the most developed country, and America is suffering both mentally and physically. So the conclusion was that any amount of progress you may make materially, even in the next 100, 200 years, those are not going to solve these problems. That is not the solution. There is no material solution for material problem. There is a spiritual solution for material problem. There is a spiritual solution for all material problems. With the same consciousness, we have created problem. With the same consciousness, we cannot solve the problem. We have to elevate our consciousness, relook at the problem, and then solve it. We discussed that our condition is like fish out of water. Like fish, if it is out of water, it cannot be pacified by any material means. Similarly, we are in our unnatural state. We cannot be pacified by any material sense gratification. So we need to find out what is that water equivalent natural state for us, like water for fish, what is that state for us? And the process of identifying is called self-realization. So currently we identify ourselves with an unnatural state of this body. So self-discovery means to identify what is our real identity. And then we said one has to, as a human being, athato brahma jigyasa, because you are a human being, you have to find out, you have to inquire about who is God. And then, because it is this person who has manufactured this material world, it is this person who has manufactured you, and hence only the manufacturer knows how to troubleshoot different problems. Isn't it? When you buy a television, you get one manual along with the television. Who gives this? Manufacturer. Because one who has made it, he knows how to troubleshoot different problems. We cannot, speculate, different ways to solve our problems. We have to refer to the manual, understand what our problem is, and understand what is the solution for the problem suggested by manufacturer. So you want to find out what is the problem for all these sufferings, all these manufacturing defects or operating defects, then we have to take shelter of the manufacturer. And the manufacturer of this entire universe for us is the Supreme Lord. So we have to take shelter of him. We have to inquire about him and then ask him, Baba, please tell me what is the solution for these problems, because you have manufactured this. And then finally we establish existence of God through different means, different ways. We said that creation implies creator. Different laws we have in the nature, in this universe, they all imply lawmaker. There are wonderful designs around us. We discuss about brain, which can store even more than all the libraries we have in the entire universe. Yeah, so design implies designer. Yeah, and finally we defined who is qualified to be called as God. Yeah, and what that qualification was, that by definition God is the cause of all causes. Yeah, sarva karan karanam, and he does not have any karan, he does not have any cause, but he is the cause of all causes. He is the ultimate source of everything. Later we'll see some verses from Bhagavad Gita which claim this, that who is the source of all everything, from whom everything emanates. And then he is the supreme controller. Nothing moves, not even a twig of grass moves without his permission. Supreme controller. Ishwar means controller, and Param Ishwar means supreme controller. So we're talking about supreme controller. We are also Ishwar in small terms. We also have very minute control, but we are not the supreme controller. As we discussed, we don't have any control on this body which we claim to be ours. Mera sharir hai, but I have no control on this. I have no control on the aging process. I have no control, various kind of disease which I, get impacted with, suffer with. I have no control on my looks beyond a point. I have no control on the level of intelligence I have. It comes at the time of birth. So practically no control, because somebody else is controlling this. And finally we said everything belongs to him. He is the supreme proprietor. We may claim our ownership in different ways, but that is temporary. It keeps changing. And finally, because he is the cause of all causes, he is the supreme controller, he is the supreme proprietor, he is the only and only enjoyer, supreme enjoyer. Yeah. So today we'll discuss how do we find out who is he. The next relevant question is, how do we find out who is this person? Why he has made a world like this, which has sufferings by design? Just one sec, somebody is raising hand. Yeah. What are the different ways to acquire knowledge in general, and which is the best and the most reliable source of knowledge? That is what we're going to learn today. And that source which is beyond all types of defects, because we have to find out information regarding absolute truth. That perfect person who is a proprietor, who is the cause of all causes. So we need a source of knowledge which is also perfect, without any defect. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to find out today. Let's take this example of 6 blind men and 1 wise man. I'm sure many of you may have seen this picture, earlier. Once a big elephant came to a village, and there were 6 blind men in that village. They had never seen an elephant, and they were all blind. So when elephant came closer to them, they touched different parts of the elephant and tried to speculate what is this object based on their respective experiences. Somebody, one blind man touched the tail of the elephant and he thought this is like a rope. One blind man touched the body of the elephant. He thought this is like a wall. So somebody said this is like a snake. Somebody said an arrow. Somebody said, what do you call, trunk of the tree. Because they're touching different parts of the body of the elephant. And finally they started discussing, okay, what is this they're touching? Somebody said, no, this is a snake. Oh no, this is a rope. No, this is a wall. This is an arrow. They all started fighting. Then one wise man was passing by. He had eyes. So he came closer to all the 6 men and found out why they were fighting. So they all claimed this elephant to be either wall or an arrow or a rope or a snake or a trunk of the tree based on their own experience, based on their own perception. But this wise man had eyes. He knew what this object is, or what this is not, a trunk or a wall or a snake or a rope. This is an elephant. So like this, different philosophers, different sects, based on their perception, they claim what God is and then create conflict. We need someone to tell us who God is, who has seen the God. And remove all these conflicts. They could rely on the information from this person through hearing. By the process of hearing, they heard from a bona fide person that this is not wall, this is not tree, this is not, arrow, this is a elephant. This is an elephant. There are 3 ways to acquire any knowledge. Any knowledge. One is called pratyaksh pramana, or direct sense perception. Second is anuman pramana, or experimental knowledge, or based on experience. And the third form of acquiring knowledge is called shabd pramana or shruti pramana. I'll explain that later. We all use these different ways to acquire knowledge in our day-to-day life. Like, a mother teaching a child, see, bus, that is bus, small child who has never seen the bus. Seeing is believing. See, that is bus. For example, if somebody has to explain sun through pratyaksh praman, he'll say sun is like a disc, isn't it? He can see only that. He has no experience beyond that. Through anuman praman, somebody may say, oh, it's a disc, but it's like a, you know, what do you call, what do you call, uh, a ball which has very high temperature inside it. That is like speculation. Seeing it based on experience, when rays comes and we experience rays, one can make an assumption that there's a lot of heat inside the sun. But somebody who has visited the sun, who has gone inside the sun, he is best placed to explain what sun is. From that person, we can hear about sun and get perfect knowledge. That is called Shabda Praman. So one, seeing it, second, assumption, and third is hearing it from a bona fide person. That is called Shabda Praman. Which is perfect out of these three? Shabda Praman. And we'll see how. Yeah. If you see this scene during daytime, and the same scene if you see during dark, when it's getting dark, you see your knowledge attained will not be same. Yeah, because what you acquire knowledge through your eyes is a function of extent of light during the day, isn't it? So what I see is dependent on some external factors. So this knowledge is relative. It is not absolute. Based on intensity of light, I'll acquire different level of knowledge from the same eyes. How is different from the day? Very different. See. Similarly, if you put a small, stick inside a glass full of water, you see the stick is, broken from the edge of the water, isn't it? But is that really broken? No. This is a limitation of my eyes that I can't see this perfectly. Similarly, you sometimes see water on the road, but it doesn't exist. So seeing is not believing always. There are few things which do not exist, but we see, like water, mirage, right? There are few things which exist, but we cannot see. For example, air, intelligence, mind, we can't see, but it exists. It's an limitation of our eyes that we cannot see everything perfectly. Sometimes you see in mirror, your view gets distorted. So Pratyaksh Praman or direct sense perception does give us knowledge, but it is not 100% perfect. Yes. Pratyaksh Praman and Anuman Praman is what science believes in. Shabda Praman is what spirituality believes in. That is where the difference is. Science goes by, what they have invented, and spiritualist goes by what they've heard from disciplic succession. That is the difference. And which is the perfect, we'll discover over the next few slides. We cannot acquire complete knowledge using our material senses. We have 5 knowledge acquiring senses. और इनको बोलते हैं ज्ञानेंद्रियाज. 5 knowledge acquiring senses or ज्ञानेंद्रिया: sight, touch, hearing, taste, smell. When we see something, we can make out beautiful, ugly based on these eyes. When we touch something, we acquire knowledge, it is soft or rough. When we hear something, we can figure out it's melodious or not melodious. When we taste something, we can make out it's sweet or sour, isn't it? It's a knowledge, no? This object is sweet or sour. By tasting, we can make out. By smelling, we can make out how is the smell. Is it fragrant or not fragrant? So these 5 senses do provide us knowledge, but the knowledge is always not perfect. Why? Because there are 4 defects in our senses. There are 4 defects. Because of these defects, many theories came, scientifically proved, again disapproved, again approved, again disapproved, updated, modified due to human beings possessing these 4 defects. And what are these 4 defects? The first one is imperfect senses. Our senses are not complete. They are apurna indriya or imperfect senses. We can see only within a certain narrow band of wavelength. We cannot see ultraviolet, we cannot see microwaves, we cannot see radio waves, we cannot see radar waves, because our wavelength to see is very limited. There are animals who are better than us, to see outside this range. Eagle can see from the top, or there is a small insect from the top, but we can't see. We can't see beyond, say, 100, 200, 300 meters. So we have limitation. So there's a limitation to this sense of seeing, and hence knowledge acquired through this sense is always not perfect. Similarly, there's a tendency, just a sec. Are they not able to follow? They're raising hands. Just one sec, let me see. Dr. Vishwas, is there any problem? Just type a message if you have any problem. Okay, I can't make out why you're raising hands. Okay. So our senses have a tendency to get illusioned. You see this trailer, it looks like a bottle is coming out of this trailer, but actually it's not. It's a picture, it's a painting. Yeah. And we'll see some more examples later on. And third one is there's a tendency to commit mistakes in all human beings. Even great personalities commit mistakes. So if there is a tendency to commit mistake, any knowledge we acquire through the senses also is not mistake proof. It is not perfect, and we are trying to find out perfect knowledge about perfect person. Again, perfect knowledge about perfect person, so that there is no ambiguity, whatsoever about the Supreme Personality. It has to be foolproof. It's not that today we say he's God, and after 10 years we realize, oh, there was some problem. Yeah. And the fourth one, the problem which these senses have is cheating propensity. There's a propensity in all human beings to cheat. And I'm sure all of us have experience while filling tax returns, or while writing exams, or while writing homework during our childhood. We all have done some level, maybe intensity could vary, but we all have done this. All of us have some cheating propensity. And we'll see some more examples later on. So these 4 defects do not qualify these senses to acquire knowledge about a perfect person. So it's not the reliable source. Pratyaksh Praman is not the most reliable source to get information about God. We saw this example. Our eyes have limitation. They can see only within the range of 400 to 700 millimicron. They cannot go beyond this range. Similarly, even what we hear is only within the range of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. And this dog is saying, Baba, I'm better than you. My favorite frequency is 50,000 hertz. You have probably never heard it before. So the limitation in these senses. They can hear, they can see within certain minor or narrow range. They cannot see outside that range. Even elephants or dogs are better than us. Dogs can go up to 40,000 hertz, and elephants can even hear infrasounds, lower frequency. Somebody may say, okay, we don't use our senses, but we use telescope to see and acquire knowledge. This is a view, a statement from a scientist who is a Nobel Prize winning, scientist. He says, even if we photograph stars, eventually we have to take it by our senses what the photo shows. Furthermore, without our senses, we cannot handle a camera. Even if we amplified, refined by instruments, the knowledge is no more perfect than our imperfect senses. So even scientists believe that the knowledge is not perfect because of these imperfect senses. How can then we make out or get knowledge about somebody as superior as God with these imperfect material senses? Second, we're talking about these senses or get illusioned. Illusion matlab, there's some examples given. If you eat orange after sugar, it tastes sour, and if you eat orange after lemon, it tastes sweet. If you eat some sugar and then eat rasgulla, it will not taste sweet. So our senses get illusioned in certain specific circumstances. Water touched with warm hand appears cool, and the vice versa. So these are like examples of speaking and touching. Now I'll show you some pictures, right? You all will get illusioned. Many of you can see a triangle, but this triangle does not exist. This is optical illusion. You see this. I'm not sure whether you can see one old lady, one old man, also somebody playing guitar, somebody getting out of the door. So many things are visible in this picture. Similar illusion here. Now you see it's a stationary picture, but you can see these circles are moving. It looks like they're moving, isn't it? But they are fixed, they are stationary. And this is optical illusion. You see again they're moving. All of them, they look like moving, because we have this limitation of getting illusion. There's a dot inside this picture. If you go closer to the dot, you will see these circles moving in different direction, in the opposite direction. Yeah, get closer to this dot, you will see the circles are moving. Why I'm trying to show all of this? Look at this. There's a picture, there's a painting on the road, and what it looks like, there's a big hole, the water is flowing. And why I'm talking about these is that with these senses which have so many limitations, because they have only small certain purpose to serve, with these senses it's very difficult to find out or acquire knowledge by seeing about a person who is beyond perfection with limited imperfect senses. Third, we said there's a tendency for all human beings to commit mistakes. And these are big mistakes in our scientific research. In the beginning, brain was thought of as an organ to cool the blood, but brain had a different purpose altogether. There's a Hubble constant which is used to measure celestial distance between different, celestial, objects. And its value has been varying. It's supposed to be a constant. 3 times the value has changed already. And scientists also are making fun out of it. And they say it is no more a constant, it is a Hubble variable. These master glands were considered like a useless part in the body, but they are the most important part in the body. So these are incorrect conclusions due to imperfect senses. But we don't want any kind of mistake while trying to identify who is the supreme personality of Godhead, who is the God. So we can't risk any amount of error, any iota of error in this identification. So these senses or the pratyaksh praman is not the best source of identifying who God is. Similarly, there's a cheating propensity. There are some examples I'll skip. We all have experienced cheating in our early days. So that was pratyaksh praman through our different senses. Second method to acquire knowledge is called anuman praman, based on observations, based on experiments, and based on experience. It may have been like this, or perhaps it was like this. Hypothesis, assumption, in my opinion, these are the general words used in Anuman Praman. In my view, in my opinion, perhaps it is like this, it may be like this, let's assume, let's speculate. Yeah. Now, with this Anuman Praman, where people are making assumptions, how can one find out somebody as superior, as perfect as God? Somebody, I'm sure you must have heard about this Charles Darwin. He gave a theory how human beings evolved, which was proved horribly wrong later on. And he wrote in one of his, statements that I am a firm believer that without speculation, there is no good and original observation. After 5 years of work, I allowed myself to speculate. Speculate means making assumption, in my view, on the subject and drew up some short notes. These I enlarged in 1844 into a sketch of the conclusions which seemed to me probable. He is not sure that what he is concluding is 100% right. So even this method of identifying is not perfect. Somebody claimed man came from monkeys. I'm sure you all must have studied in your textbooks also. How man evolved. They were monkeys, chimpanzee, and they evolved and converted into human beings. That theory is rubbish. Yeah. So any amount of information gathered through assumption cannot be 100% perfect. And we'll see some horrible mistakes which have happened out of this Anuman Praman. A Bisleri bottle, a convenient substitute for a glass bottle, but water stored in Bisleri bottle for 6 months turns poisonous. We could not speculate that it will turn into poison. We could not speculate, we could not, assume that mobile, which is so looking so glamorous or so, beautiful, it'll create heart problem if kept closer to the heart. It'll create brain problems if you keep it closer to the, ears beyond a certain time. Mobile has so many hazardous, impact on our body, but we could not speculate while speculating the best part of the mobile or the benefit of the mobile. Similarly, when we invented refrigerator, we could not speculate, we could not identify it'll create a hole in the ozone layer and will create a bigger problem. So there are who side effects of Anuman Praman, assumptions or experiments. There was a disease in 1300, 2030. It's called bubonic plague. In the beginning, researchers thought that this plague or this disease had come from cats. Cats were the real cause of the plague, and they killed all the cats in the entire area. And then later they realized it was not cats, they were rats who were the real cause. And now there were too many rats because there are no cats to kill the rats. And the whole country, many countries put together, there was a disaster in terms of people dying because we could not ascertain what is the right cause. We speculated it is rat or cat. So the implications of such errors in research could be very dangerous. Half knowledge is a dangerous thing. And if I asked you, if it was a interactive session, I would have asked you, find out some examples wherein we tried to find solution to a problem but got into a bigger problem. There are many examples like this. So this relative half knowledge is not sufficient to find truth about absolute person, perfect person. That is the point I'm trying to make. While it is, a method to acquire knowledge, sometimes right, sometimes wrong, or incomplete, but it is not sufficient for finding out who is God. It's dangerous to operate a machine with half knowledge. Similarly, it is dangerous to manipulate the universal cosmic machine. We invent something without any idea of how it is going to interact with the cosmic laws, the cosmic machine, with the environment. Later we identify there is a hole in the ozone, it'll create air pollution, it'll have impact on brain, it'll have impact on heart. So dangerous, isn't it? So unless we have knowledge from the creator, we will not know the impact of our inventions on the external environment or on this body, which is also a machine. So where is that manual which can explain operation of this cosmic machine or this universe as a whole? If we get that, then we can find out and remain happy. Because we'll know if we do this, this is going to happen. If we do this, this is going to happen. Today we don't know. We do this and then we discover something bad happens. We do this, we discover later something bad happens. Because this knowledge is not perfect. It is half knowledge. So 4 defects, we have imperfect senses, leads to illusion, due to which we commit mistakes, and to hide mistakes we cheat. Yeah. Now third is Shabd Praman. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam imam rajrashayo vidu, which means, I'll read the translation of this verse. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession. So how this knowledge is going from one age to another age is through disciplic succession, through the process of hearing from a bona fide pramanic resource. If a child has to find out who is his father, how will he find out? Can he find out through pratyaksh praman? He looks at all the people around us and find out who is his father. Very difficult. Can he make an assumption and find out who is his father? Anuman praman? Not possible. If he has to do a genetic test, how many people he'll do genetics test to find out who is his father? And I understand to do genetic fingerprints, it takes 800 years to identify a lot of 200 men. So through pratyaksh or through anuman, it is not possible for a child to find out who his father is. The best way for the child to find out who his father is to simply ask his mother and know who your father is, because mother knows who the father is. This is called deductive knowledge. None other than mother can tell this child who the father is. No amount of pratyaksh knowledge, direct sense perception, no amount of anuman praman or experimentation. Similarly, these Vedas, these scriptures are treated like mother, and God or the Supreme Father, or God is treated like Supreme Father. So we have to ask mother these scriptures these Vedas, who my father is. This is called Shabda Praman, asking the authority to tell me who my father is. Not through experimentation or not through seeing is believing concept. Because that is an authority. From where Vedas came? From the Supreme Lord. These Vedas are also called as Apurushaya. Apurusha means something which is not manufactured by any human being with imperfect senses. This is given by the perfect person himself, God himself, and hence they are perfect. And hence they are reliable. We can 100% trust on them. We can have 100% faith in what is written in the scriptures. So ask Mother Vedas to find out who the Father is, who the God is. So our parampara or disciplic succession, which Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, or sampradaya, is like a university. And different gurus or different acharyas who pass on this knowledge from one generation to another, they're like professors. And all the Vedic texts like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, these are authorized, pramanic, bona fide books. Now you'll say, now how do I trust the knowledge inside these books is, factual or not? Is trustable or not? We'll see that. First time this Vedic knowledge was revealed by Krishna in the heart of Brahma, the first created being. Brahma is the first Purusha in this entire creation. An entire Vedic knowledge was imparted to Brahma in his heart. If you read Bhagavatam, we'll get to understand this. And from Brahma, through disciplic succession, this knowledge is getting passed on. Krishna gave to Brahma, Brahma gave to Narada, Narada gave to Vyasdev, Vyasdev gave to Sukdev Goswami. Like this, parampara after parampara, this knowledge is being passed on. This is called disciplic succession or parampara through a chain of gurus from beginning of creation. This is not some 200, 300, 400 years, information knowledge. 5,000 years back, Vyasadev, I'm sure all of you would have heard about this name, which is also a literary incarnation of the God, recorded. Vedas were primarily learned through hearing earlier, in earlier yugas. People used to hear and remember, no need to write. But because Kali Yuga was coming after the Dwapara Yuga, and it was predicted that in Kali Yuga, people will have very short memory. They will not be able to remember even their mobile number. Forget about these, Vedas. So hence, Vyasadev wrote down everything so that we can again read and remember, read and remember, read and remember. Otherwise, there was no need. People used to be called as Shruti Dhar. Remember and never forget. Sut Goswami, who was sitting in the assembly when Sukdev Goswami recited all the verses of 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, he simply heard 18,000 verses and recited to sages of Naimisharanya. 88,000 sages. Simply heard and recited. No, there was no need to write for him. But for Kali Yuga people, Vyasadev had to write down so that we can read and remember. This is vast knowledge. Shruti, Smriti, Vedas, Up-Vedas, Vedangas, Sutras, Tantras, Pancharatras, Puranas, Itihas, Six Darshan. This is the most comprehensive knowledge in which everything is explained in detail. You name it, Kam Shastra, Arth Shastra, Vastu Shastra, Ayurveda Shastra, everything from medicine to chemistry to physics to mathematics, everything is explained in thorough detail. Veda comes from a root word called with, and with means knowledge. There is nothing which is outside these Vedas. Everything is explained inside these Vedas. So Vedas or the Shabd Praman is the best and the most reliable source of complete knowledge. Why? Because this has come from a perfect person who has no defect in his senses. And this has tested the time. You know, Bhagavad Gita was spoken to whom first? Who was the first recipient of Bhagavad Gita? It was Surya Dev, sun god, not Arjun, millions of years back. And the same 700 verses are being passed on from one generation to the next. No one has been able to find even an iota of fault in these books. So they have tested all the times. But material knowledge is changing. It is not permanent. What I studied in my school, my daughter is studying something very different. And I'm sure next generation will study something very different. Syllabus curriculum keeps changing because it is still searching for perfection. It is not perfect. It is not complete. And hence it's changing, it's variable. But this knowledge never changes. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, same knowledge, same verses, but they're applicable in all times, all circumstances. That is called real knowledge. Now, how to trust this knowledge? We'll give you some examples. Krishna tells Arjuna, this is the real knowledge. You are the soul. Your body is just like a shirt. This is in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. Just as you change your shirt when it gets old, torn, and useless, similarly, the soul changes body after death and enters into another body. So it is Bhagavad Gita which talks about life after death. In our dictionary, if you try to find out what is the definition of death, it says when all the parts of the body stop working, it is called death. What happens after this? No knowledge. Because with these experimental knowledge, we cannot find out what happens with death. We have to take shelter of books like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam to get these facts. He says, Mam upetya punanjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So we are saying this material world, there are so many miseries. Krishna has predicted this in Bhagavad Gita. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This material world is a dukkhalayam. Bhojanalay, where bhojan is served. Pustakale, where pustak is served. And dukkhale, where dukh is served or miseries are served. No one can escape miseries in this material world. Everybody has to suffer old age. Everybody has to suffer death. Everybody has to suffer disease. That is the nature of this material world. He says, after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection. So there is a word beyond this material world. He's asking us to come there, not stay here. This world is temporary and full of miseries. And we all are experiencing this, but we feel happy staying here because we have no awareness, we have no knowledge of something beyond this material world. Because that cannot be found out any through direct sense perception or through Anuman Praman experiments. We can only find out a word which is beyond this material world only through Shabd Praman. Somebody who has manufactured this word and that word. He only can tell us. So let's, compare to identify the purpose of this human body. And be very attentive when I go through this. Yeah. There's a comparison of a car given by a company and a human body given by God. So car is equated with human body. Given by company, here given by God. There's a driver inside the car, there's a soul inside the body. Who is the actual driver of the body? Body has no meaning without soul. When soul leaves the body, body is dead. Can't move. Body moves because of the presence of driver or the soul inside the body. Then, Like we clean the car, we put petrol inside the car. Similarly, we bathe the body, we put food inside the body to keep it healthy. Yes or no? Next, sometimes we take the car to the garage for repair. Similarly, we take the body to doctors for repair, to treat different disorders. Next, the purpose of the car is to go to the company. Similarly, the purpose of this body or this machine is to go back home, back to Godhead in the spiritual world, which Krishna just mentioned. There is a word beyond the miseries. And that is the purpose of this human body or the car, to go there. Breaking glass of the car with bat is like committing suicide. Using it to wander with the girlfriend, not going to company, is like enjoying pleasures, forgetting the real goal, which the whole world is currently engrossed in. We have forgotten what is the purpose of this body: to inquire, find out, and solve our problems. But we are busy, roaming around the car with the girlfriend, not using the car to go back to the company for which this car was given, this body was given, but we're using it for small pleasures, minor pleasures. Speeding up the car 100 km/h is like living life like a rat race with no goal. Everybody is busy, isn't it? They're working hard, 12 hours, 14 hours a day, but none of them know what the goal of life is. Isn't it? That is the nature of today's society. You ask anyone what is the goal of life, he'll think twice before saying anything. He has to struggle to find out what is the goal of his life. Painting, decorating, and beautifying the car and never using it for the job. It is like decorating the body with cosmetics without using this to serve the God. So through car example, we can find out there is a purpose of this human body, but we are not using it for the same purpose and using it for minor enjoyments, sense gratification. And not really, that's why we use the term Kripana yesterday. Have the intelligence. Krishna has awarded, or God has awarded everything to us, but we are not using the ability for a higher purpose, using it for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Lower purposes of like animals. Prabhupada used to give example of a cage and a bird inside. And the whole modern society is only busy in decorating the cage without worrying about the bird inside. You see so much of exhaustive arrangements to decorate this cage, but not the bird. Bird is dying inside, starving. But you're only polishing, we're busy polishing the cage. Sometimes blue color, sometimes red color, sometimes pink color, sometimes this color, sometimes that color. But what is happening to the soul inside, no one is bothered. And that soul is the only thing which is responsible for body to move. The driver is starving, only worrying about the car. So this is where we are completely misled from the real goal of life, because we don't have people to guide us. That knowledge is not being given in schools, colleges. It's a very sorry state. We'll talk about that, how this entire knowledge was lost in India. How educated Indians were diverted from putting faith in the Vedas. I'll show one small video which will tell you why we lost faith in Vedas, which used to be our real asset of this country. But today we don't have faith in Vedas. Why? A small video.
Early Indologists wished to control and convert the followers of Vedic culture. Therefore, they widely propagated that the Vedas were simply mythology. Max Mueller, perhaps the most well-known early Sanskritist and Indologist, although later in life he glorified the Vedas, initially wrote that the Vedas were worse than savage and India must be conquered again by education. Its religion is doomed. Thomas Macaulay, who introduced English education into India, wanted to make the residents into a race that was Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinion, in morals, and in intellect. However, the German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer stated that the Sanskrit understanding of these Indologists was like that of young schoolboys. These early Indologists devised the Aryan invasion theory, denying India's Vedic past. They taught that the English educational system is superior. They intentionally misinterpreted Sanskrit texts to make the Vedas look primitive. And they systematically tried to make Indians ashamed of their own culture. Thus, the actions of these Indologists seems to indicate that they were motivated by a racial bias.
So you see how Vedas, which used to be our, glorious asset, we lost faith in. And after Britishers invaded India, and systematically the knowledge of Vedas was taken out from our education system. Earlier in Gurukuls, one used to be taught only this knowledge. But we got trapped, in this big scam of bringing something, which was not as good as the kind of knowledge we had in our history. Now you see some, predictions from Vedic literature. When will Jesus Christ appear? In Atharva Veda, it is predicted. When will Prophet Muhammad appear? It is predicted in Bhavishya Puran. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will appear, it is predicted in Mahabharata and many other scriptures. When will Lord Buddha appear? Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 3rd chapter, 24 number verse. When will Chanakya appear? When will Emperor Ashoka appear? All these predictions are done already in the scriptures. And who is going to appear in future? Even those predictions are there in our scriptures. When will Kalki Avatar come? Where he will be born? Who is the father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Who is the mother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Where he will be born? Which village Lord Buddha will be born? Who are will be fathers and mothers? Father and mother? Everything is predicted in these scriptures. As I mentioned, it is beyond perfection. There is a description of embryology in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is explained how a child develops inside the womb of a body, of mother. We had no knowledge about what happens inside the womb of mother 200, 300 years back, till the time we had radiology in place. But Bhagavatam, which is 5,000 years back, it was written. It explains what happens on the first day, what happens on the 7th day, what happens on 21st day, when his ears start coming out, when his eyes start coming out, when his mental development starts, when he starts feeling hungry, what is he thinking in his mind? Not only about physical development, even his mental state of mind is mentioned Bhagavatam. Today we have so many Ayurvedic health centers. Based on what? Ayurveda, which comes from Vedas. Kam Shastra, how to enjoy sex, is explained very nicely in Shastras. How to build your house, Vastu Shastra. Astrology, how to predict. Metallurgy, mathematics, astronomy, Vedic maths, everything is available in these Shastras. Organic farming, now we are coming back to organic. Yeah, because we have realized, these genetically, modified fruits and vegetables cannot keep us happy. So let's go back to organic farming. The Sanskrit language, is the most oldest, the root of almost all languages. And there was a research done somewhere in Europe, I think, and they said anyone who reads Sanskrit, his mind or brain becomes sharper, intelligence becomes sharper simply by reciting verses of Sanskrit language. So this is not ordinary language, ordinary knowledge. Everything mentioned in these scriptures is 100% factual. Not even a single verse can be proved wrong. One who is studying it, they know it. Yeah. This Shastra say even the cow dung is as pure as water of Ganges. In temples, if you have to install deity, you have to clean that place with cow dung, cow urine. It is as pure, the best antiseptic. So if we take shelter of this knowledge, we don't need to learn anything else. We don't need to learn anything else. It is sufficient in itself. How do we get this knowledge? As I mentioned, there are 4 universities mentioned in the Shastras themselves. That how do you attain this knowledge? There are 4 universities called as 4 sampradayas or 4 parampara system. One comes from Lakshmi ji, wife of Vishnu. One comes from Shiva. One comes from Brahmaji himself, and one comes from 4 Kumaras. 4 different universities giving the same knowledge. And there are 4 different acharyas in these 4 sampradayas. So anyone who's attached to these sampradayas is sure shot to get 100% factual knowledge, which is beyond any defect. I'll talk about this more on the last day. What are these sampradayas and what are they talking? The point is being made is the Shabd Praman is the only reliable source of information to find out information, knowledge about absolute truth. Because any knowledge we receive through, direct sense perception, Pratyaksh Praman, or experimental knowledge, Anuman Praman, is relative. It is not absolute truth. Knowledge in these scriptures is also called as axiomatic truth. Means it doesn't require any other evidence to prove what is written in these scriptures. No wonder even the most literate people, after they have witnessed what is there in these scriptures, they're getting attracted. People from IIMs, people from IITs, they are studying these scriptures. Why? They're the most intelligent, in terms of even material education. They are getting attracted to this kind of knowledge. Why? Because it is factual. And you don't find this knowledge anywhere else. So Shabd Praman is the best source of information, and we are, ISKCON is following Brahma Sampradaya. You see the second one, this Sampradaya, Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. Our teachings are authoritative, pure, and safe to accept because they are based on the works of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, a pure devotee of Krishna, coming in Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. This university which I mentioned, the second one. Okay, so it's a bona fide university, bona fide sampradaya. Any knowledge you receive from this is 100% authentic, based on scriptures. One cannot be. That's why anyone who comes to ISKCON after 10-15 days, he is absolutely clear on what the truth is about spirituality, beyond any doubt. I also used to have so many doubts in my mind, so many conflicts regarding spirituality. But after attending a similar course 15 years back, I got complete clarity. I expect all of you to have the same clarity after this session, after 3 or 4 sessions. That is the objective of this seminar. Okay, so next, after studying God and the source of information about God, next is to find out who are we. After God, we need to find out who are we. What is the science of soul? Who am I? What is my real identity? And that will cover tomorrow. Okay, science of soul, or who am I? So here I stop and open it for questions if you have. Yes. आप लोगों को समझ आया कि नहीं? If you could raise your hands just to give me confidence. Okay, thank you. Thank you. If you could switch on your videos, then it'll be nice. I can relate. Okay, I'm getting yes messages in chat. Very good. That gives me encouragement to be ready for next session. Please shoot your questions. I'm waiting for questions. Please write down your questions. Huh? I'm not unmuting anyone. So the question is, why the education system has been diverted from Vedas to experimental knowledge? You would have seen the small video I showed. There was a person called John Macaulay. When Britishers were ruling here, they knew if we have to rule over India, we have to dismantle the education system of India. Then only we can rule. Because that was our strength, that was our backbone. So they removed the Gurukul system and brought in this English medium education system based on direct perception, pratyaksh and anuman praman. That's why our today's children have no understanding of our shastras, no sanskaras, and more getting attracted towards material glamour. There are two types of knowledge according to shastras. One is called vidya, second is called avidya. Vidya is the knowledge required to get free from this material world, from all the miseries, which is available in our scriptures. That is called Vidya. What we teach in schools and colleges these days is called material knowledge or avidya. That is only for the purpose of filling belly, nothing beyond that. Do you agree? It only helps you to eat better, sleep better, mate better, and defend better. Nothing beyond that. It has no limits. That is also required. But if you do not have, if a child does not have a sound foundation of vidya or spiritual knowledge, that avidya becomes durvidya. It becomes destructive knowledge. Then you start inventing nuclear weapons, atomic bombs, this and that, using the same knowledge. It becomes destructive. So this knowledge from Vedas, from our scriptures, is extremely important for everyone. And that is the first purpose of ISKCON, to get this knowledge available to masses, which is not being taught in schools and colleges otherwise. That's why we're having these seminars. Okay, does it answer your question? Please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. Second question. If we have very short memory, then how can we say Shab Praman are most reliable? That's why we recite one verse every day. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavat seveya. We have to read it every day. We have to hear it every day because our memory is very short. Okay, that's why we must read the scriptures every day. It should become a part of our daily routine. It's not something which is to be read once in a month, every day. Then we'll remember something and implement something in our life. Okay, So what you hear, you remember for a longer time. And when you read or hear every day, you remember even for a longer time. Okay, so the scriptures, Shapraman, is to be studied every day, not once in a while, so that this information is, your question is, how are they reliable? Reliability has to do nothing with, do with whether I can remember this or not. Knowledge is perfect. It is my limitation that I can't remember beyond a, longer period of time. I read today and tomorrow I forget. This is my limitation, not the limitation of the knowledge. Okay, that's why Vyasadeva wrote it down for people like us, that we will forget this, and hence we read it every day and remember it. Okay, from Vimalji. So what do we do with the gyan we had for all these years? Not blaming anyone, but now it's very clear. Can't the supreme authorities take this into proper education system? We have been trying, but there are political motivations also. I will not say beyond a, yeah, vote bank is the first priority. Okay, not Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. So if we can't bring it in the education system, does not mean we do not have sources to achieve this knowledge. It is available. In ISKCON, in Udaipur itself, we have these classes going on around 10 to 15 places in Udaipur. Please come and join. Okay. While we change the education system, we'll keep working on it. But till that time, we have a better alternate. Let's make use of it. Many of in this group, they are attending these classes every week. So till the time it comes to colleges, schools, let's make use of alternative mechanism. And we have this available for small children, for youth, for elders, and even for senior citizens. Okay, so please come and join. We'll be happy to receive you. Yeah. Next, from Mamta Saxena ji. In the yesterday's session, you told about karma. Can lion be punished for eating a rabbit? Explain. It's not law of nature. Is it not law of nature? Very good question. There is a provision in Shastras. It's called Jeev Jivasya Jivanam. That every living entity, for its survival, is dependent on another living entity. जीव जीवस्य जीवनम, जीने के लिए एक जीव दूसरे जीव पर निर्भर है. लेकिन शास्त्रों में वो कोटा डिफाइन कर दिया है किसके लिए क्या. Okay, for lion, deer, rabbit, they can eat non-vegetarian, no problem. Cow can eat grass, no problem. Cow, have you ever seen cow eating non-vegetarian? No, only grass. That is the quota for cow. For lion, the quota is non-vegetarian. Similarly, for human beings, quota is patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, vegetarian, not non-vegetarian. Non-vegetarian is the quota for lions and all such kind of animals, not for human beings. Okay, so if you follow this, even trees are also living beings. There is a soul inside plants, trees also. But because we have to survive another living being, the quota is defined for human being, not the non-vegetarian. Okay, so based on what is written in scripture, if we follow, then we are free of sinful reactions. So lion can eat rabbit, no problem. We can't eat. Okay. Next question. Having been born in this material world, what is our ultimate objective as human beings? And what are we expected to follow? Please wait for another couple of days. Today's third session. We'll reveal this, fifth and sixth day. Maybe tomorrow itself, to some extent. We're talking about soul. Okay? Otherwise, we'll have no climax. Ruchi Agarwal. What could be simplest solution for our children to come closer to our Vedas? First of all, you learn, then teach children. Okay, mother is the first guru of the child. When we started one school for small children. We call this Vasalle culture classes. Every Sunday we have these classes. So a lot of children come and attend these classes. So when children started coming, I was asking parents, now the children are more smarter than you. They will come and ask you a question and you will have no answer. Better you also come and join our class. Then they came and join our classes. So children also come and mother, father also come. So both are gaining this knowledge. So if you have children, please send it to us. Send them to us. We'll take care of them. We'll give them knowledge. And you also come so that one day they take knowledge from us and 6 days they acquire knowledge from you because they spend maximum time with you. So you also need to learn to teach them. Okay? Not only expect only children to learn. Children also, they learn from what they see in the house, isn't it? They also do not learn by listening. They learn by seeing. कि मम्मी क्या कर रही है, पापा क्या कर रहे हैं, उनको देख देख के बच्चे सीखते हैं. If you read Bhagavad Gita every day, they will also develop interest. If parents do not read and they expect children to read, then it's too much, isn't it? They will not follow. What is Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya? This is called Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. This is a sampradaya which originated from Brahmaji. Brahmaji gave this knowledge to Narad Muni to Vyasadev, Vyasadev to Sukdev Goswami, like this is coming. And the key acharya in this sampradaya is Madhvacharya. That's why this sampradaya is called as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Okay. Dr. Damarji. Why some die earlier and some late? How can we know our destiny, time of death, after death, when rebirth, and where? See, every living entity, B is fixed, birth is fixed. D is fixed, death is fixed. Between B and D, C comes. That is your choice to make. Okay, B is fixed, you can't change. D is fixed, death is fixed. In between B and C is about making right choices. That is you can decide your destiny based on right choices. Okay, choices based on scriptures, not based on our whims and fancies. That's why we should study Bhagavad Gita and understand what is the instruction given for me. What is the desire of Lord for me? And then make the right choice. Right? Then you can change your destiny. Otherwise, you cannot change your destiny. Okay? So we should not worry about when I'm going to die. We should worry about whatever time I have, let me make the best use of it. Be it 5 years, 10 years, or whatever time I have, let me get the best out of it. That should be our aim, because we cannot find out when is my end day written. Difficult to find out. Prabhuji, can ISKCON open a school like Gurukul in all over India for the coming generation? We actually have Gurukuls. We have a big Gurukul in Vrindavan. We have a big Gurukul in Mayapur. We have big Gurukul in outside India also. So if you want to open Udaipur, please come and help me. We'll open Gurukul in Udaipur also. Yeah. So let's get together and then figure out a way to have a school Gurukul in Udaipur also. So to answer your question, we do have, but not many, because not many parents want the children to go to Guru school. If demand goes up, we'll increase the supply also. Okay. Next, you mentioned that the knowledge in the Vedas is tested over ages. How was that tested? Because nothing has been proved wrong. Everything is factual. Whatever is written happens. In 12th canto of Bhagavatam, there's a description of Kali Yuga. What is going to happen in Kali Yuga? Kali Yuga duration is 4,32,000 years. How much? 4,32,000 years, and only 5,000 years have gone by. Only 5,000 years. So what is going to happen next? Please open 12th canto Bhagavatam. You will see what is going to happen next. It is written. What kind of time we will see going forward, you can find out today. So it is tested. Nothing has been proved wrong. Everything is factual. I mentioned some predictions in terms of when will Lord Buddha appear, when will Chanakya appear, Ashoka appear, Chaitanya Maha appear, Jesus Christ will appear, Prophet Muhammad will appear. Everything is mentioned already. How many Earth are there in the whole universe? Okay. There are millions of universes, not one universe. In every universe, there is one Earth. Okay. Every universe has 14 planetary system. How many? 14 लोकाज और 14 माले की बिल्डिंग है. उसमें 7वां माला अर्थ है. सबसे ऊपर वाला है ब्रह्मलोक, जहां ब्रह्मा जी रहते हैं. So millions of universes, millions of earths, but every universe has one earth. Okay, if that answers your question. Any other question? Nice to see so many questions today. Any more question? Request you to post today's recording as well. Yes, we'll do that. Yes. Bimal, you're writing some question? How we can see different lokas? Bhagavad Gita mentions different procedures. How to go to different lokas. Through satellite, we cannot go to moon. And we have never been. Why will claim we have been to moon? We have never been to moon. Okay. So there is a process to go to moon, to go to sun, to go to heaven, to go to Vaikuntha. So you have to follow the processes, not through mechanical means. Where do you want to go? Huh? No, only one God, not many. There's a question, are there many gods as there are many universes? No, only one God. Okay. In Bhagavatam, it is described how these universes are created from one God. Okay, only one God. One Prime Minister, one God. Okay. Prabhuji, we are fortunate to have you in Udaipur. Oh, it's my fortune. That I am able to serve all of you. It's my pleasure. Can you start such classes online for children? Actually, due to Corona holidays, we are doing classes for children online. So you can get in touch with me and join these story sessions. We have once in a week. And once we are through, we become normal, then you can send your children for weekly class on every Sunday. And you're also welcome to join our classes. I was thinking, which I'll share on the last day, that we will start something after this session. I'll disclose that on the last day. Yeah. Keep guessing. We'll start something so that this association goes on. It doesn't get disrupted after the seminar. Okay. If all of you are willing, then we'll start. All of you send me a message. If you're willing to have something after the seminar, then based on the response, we'll work out something. Okay. So I'd wait for your message for every individual. How are you finding seminar, and do you really want to continue after the seminar is over? Okay. So Ruchiji, you can get in touch with me. I'll share the details. You can, ask your children to join on online classes. Okay, thank you very much for very active participation. So tomorrow's subject is again very, very interesting. Science of soul. How is this soul different from body? How our soul consciousness can make us free of all fears in life? One can become fearless with this knowledge, completely fearless. ओके, ऑल राइट, थैंक, किसी का मन नहीं करा जाने को? All right, thank you very much. See you tomorrow at the same time, 12 p.m. in the afternoon. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.